Good evening, everybody. We're back for another pick show, Anthony and I. I edged him out last week with a 12-4 record over his 11-5, but man, it was close. And there were some picks. There were some picks that I think both of us could have gone either way on. I think tonight might be the same way. It seems I don't know. It seemed like an easier week to pick than last week. What do you think, Anthony?
When I was going through my picks, I felt like there were some obvious beatdown situations, but like the thing is, week 2 there's always like the swing back week, so like teams that look terrible week 1 sometimes manage to like squirt one out. And
Yeah,
like it's different, but I see what you mean in terms of like, especially at the top of the schedule, it looks like it's just going to be like clear routes.
yeah.
So, I mean, I was feeling pretty good going into last week because, like, immediately, like, you took not Philadelphia, and I took Philadelphia.
It's true.
Like, 1-0, let's go.
And then it was all downhill from there. But yeah, as you guys know, we're going to keep a running tally as the season goes on. Winner gets bragging rights for right now. Maybe we'll incorporate something else into it as the season goes on. But for right now, Anthony, let's get into it, man.
Cool. All right, so let's kick us off. I guess we're going to kick off with the biggest, like, the biggest matchup possibly of the week for our AFC East. The Buffalo Bills at the Miami Dolphins. Be honest with you, I hate to do this, but like it's going to be Miami. I think Miami has. I know that Achan's banged up, Mostert's banged up. I don't think it matters. I've watched every single running back ever succeed in that system, so I don't really care if it's Jalen Wright, if it's Jeff Wilson, if it's some dude off the bench that I've never heard of. I think that the Miami Dolphins are going to take this game against the Buffalo Bills. Not even really that nervous about it, especially after like. It was 4 months that I was predicting that Buffalo was going to struggle against the Cardinals. And, like, I'll say this again, like, 2 minutes to go, Cardinals have the football driving down the field ready to win the game.
Yeah.
Like, if that's the Miami Dolphins with the ball, 2 minutes to go with Tua and Tyreek Hill and Waddle and the rest of their playmakers, like, I don't think they stall out. I think Buffalo just wins it, or Buffalo just loses it outright. I actually don't think that the Bills have the horses to put up the fight, and I think that the Miami pass rush. Let me put it this way: if the Bills cannot get their ground game established to the point that it is an actual threat that Miami has to defend against. And it's just the Miami pass rush pinning their ears back to hit Josh Allen, I think it's going to be a long night for the Bills. I don't think that they have the horsepower if it's not Josh Allen doing it himself to keep up in this kind of matchup. So I do take the Miami Dolphins outright.
Okay. You say you're not nervous about this game. I am.
Of course you are. You're always nervous. You were nervous last week. Admittedly, probably Jacksonville's a dangerous team, but still.
Yeah. So, yeah, I am nervous about this one. I am taking the Dolphins. I'm taking the Dolphins as well. I took them on our AFC Summit show. I took them on my show on the Fins Forecast last night. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a hard-fought game as well. You know, if the Dolphins are going to beat the Bills, it's always hard fought. It's never. They don't seem to know how to beat this team easily. So, you know, I see Brett out there. Thank you for joining the show, Brett. We really appreciate you joining us. I think it's going to be the Dolphins. I have a feeling. And maybe this is just such an erroneous homer feeling here, but I have a feeling that this is finally the year the Dolphins kind of exert their will upon the Buffalo Bills a little bit.
Okay.
And I think this is finally – it feels like the time. I will be so disappointed if it's not.
Score prediction, or do you just like?
I said 27-24 last night. I'm going to stand by it.
So it's 3-point game, real close.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have a score prediction?
I don't have a score prediction. I do think it's going to be on the top end of 1 score into 2 scores. I think it could be as much as 10 points, but probably between 7 point game. I don't think it's going to be crazy close.
Okay. The line right now is Miami minus 2.5. So take that for whatever it's worth.
Yeah, Brett in the comments thinks that it's going to be it comes down to the pass rush of the Bills versus 2, and I think that there's something to that. I do think the loss of Taron Johnson is going to make it really a lot easier for Tua to get rid of the ball quickly. The pass rush has to get home if like Tua can't get rid of the ball really quickly. They got rid of the ball so fast against Jacksonville. I mean, the corners of Jacksonville aren't known for being able to cover especially well, and they weren't tackling really, really well in the open field. I just watched the All-22 yesterday. Yeah, I mean, Cam Lewis played pretty good last week, but like, who's he playing against? It was the Arizona Cardinals. So, I mean, it's different traveling against or with the Arizona Cardinals traveling to you versus Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle going batshit going batshit on motion plays.
Yeah,
it's just different. We're talking about a completely different caliber of team. One team's the Super Bowl contender, and the other team is hoping they can get a winning record for the end of the season.
It comes down to pass rush of the Bills. Yeah, I agree. I think, and Jacksonville pass rush got home against the Dolphins last week.
It did. Though one of those sacks was just like Tua giving himself up, and the other sack was honestly Trayvon went bad shit. I mean, he knocked over he knocked over a guard and the Austin Jackson, the right tackle, and just swiped at Tua's foot. Like,
that guy's so damn good.
That dude's a freak of nature.
All right, so. We do need to move on. Trek, thank you for joining. Mike, thanks for joining. Let's see what Mike has to say. Can't remember a week 2 game means so much. I'm with you, Mike. I'm shaking in my space boots over here.
For sure.
The game's less than an hour and a half away, and it's all it's been on my mind since Sunday. I'll be honest.
We have been in the game for a long time. You're absolutely right. I'm probably going a little bit too long. We got a couple of short ones coming up though.
Yes.
Let's talk about the next one.
Yes. So we didn't move on. Okay, so we got Cowboys Saints next on my docket. A 1:00 game at Dallas. Normally Dallas plays at 4 when they're home. That's kind of a strange time for them to be playing. Mm-hmm. But New Orleans beat the hell out of the Carolina Panthers last week. It was an absolute merciless beating.
It was awful. It was like 30-1. It was like 30-5 or 30-6 in like the first half. It was gross.
Yeah, and I don't think the Saints are quite that good. I don't think they're a particularly good team in general. I just think the Panthers are that bad. Bryce Young played so bad. Yeah. It's time to start. Well, we'll talk about the Panthers in a little bit, but it's time to start questioning whether or not he's a first-round bust. Honestly, like that. But that being said, the Cowboys also got a blowout victory of their own against the Cleveland Browns, who I view as a better team than the Carolina Panthers. They have a great defense. What's that?
No kidding.
Yeah. The Panthers don't set a high bar. But the Cowboys did beat the hell out of the Browns. Deshaun Watson looked terrible in that game. Mm-hmm. They couldn't really get anything going offensively. David Njoku got hurt. The Cowboys looked pretty damn good, especially defensively. They looked unbelievable defensively. Yeah, I'm going to take the Cowboys in this one. I don't think it's going to be a very close one. I think it's going to be a 24-13 kind of game, 27-14, something like that. I think the Cowboys are going to win this one pretty handily.
Yeah, I actually think it's probably going to get into the 30s for the Cowboys. I think they're going to do something. Last week, I took the under on Dak Prescott passing. It was like 244, and I won. So I would actually hit the under on that too. I think they're gonna be up by 2 scores going into halftime. They're just gonna like hand the ball off to Ezekiel Elliott for 2 quarters and punt.
Yeah.
It's gonna be out of hand pretty quickly. Next one up, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Detroit Lions. This is another one where I would really like to be able to take Tampa because, man, it was so much fun seeing what's his name? Not Gardner Minshew. Who's the Baker Mayfield? Yeah. Seeing Baker Mayfield resurrect. I just think the Detroit Lions are a buzzsaw.
Yeah, they certainly appear to be. I like the fire they showed in coming back against the Rams last week. David Montgomery just took that game over in overtime.
Yeah.
You got Jahmyr Gibbs over there, and he's a first-round pick in a lot of these mock drafts and everything. But David Montgomery, he's their bell cow. He's their bell cow, honestly. He's the guy that you run between the tackles, and he gets you the tough yards. And this Lions team is just so talented. And Amon-Ra St. Brown barely got any play last week. I love the Bucs. I love Baker Mayfield. I'm right there with you, Anthony. I love Baker Mayfield. I love the scrappiness with which his team plays. If this game was in Tampa, I might have gone Bucs here. But because it's in Detroit, I gotta use my head. I gotta go Detroit.
You know what's crazy? The line on this one is the Lions minus 7.5, which is actually a bigger line than than Dallas is getting.
Yeah,
isn't that crazy? Like,
it is crazy.
Yeah,
Bucs still aren't getting respect, man.
No, they're really not. The Bucs aren't getting any respect, and the Saints are suddenly getting too much respect. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't get that either.
Yeah. Next game.
All right, we have the Indianapolis Colts at the Green Bay Packers. This is probably going to be a good one, and it's a hard one to predict because we haven't seen Malik Willis play in a few years.
We saw him a little bit. Did you see him at the end of that game?
Yeah.
2 plays?
And because of the end of that game, because I never liked Malik Willis coming out of college, and because his coaches were the closest ones to him, and they still didn't give him any playing time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the Packers are going to be able to do offensively in this one. I honestly don't know what to expect from them.
Yep.
That being said, I know what to expect from the Colts a little bit. Anthony Richardson is going to make a few splash plays that are going to ultimately be the difference in this one. I'm taking the Colts.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was really hoping you were going to take the Green Bay Packers. I was really hoping you were going to take the Packers here. I'm going to take the Colts too. Anthony Richardson, the most electrifying player in the NFL today.
Yeah.
Borrowing from The Rock. That dude is unreal. All right. Next up, we got the New York Jets and the Tennessee Titans. New York Jets, that's all.
Yeah, I like the Jets in this one. They're going to bounce back against the Titans. Titans aren't a very good team. They had the Bears down and out in that game last week, and they just let them off the hook. And
if we're going to talk a little bit about how that game went, and I don't want to go too crazy on it because I don't want to go too deep. Like, Caleb Williams is struggling to move the football. The Bears' game plan, again, like, I don't love their offensive coordinator. It's a ton of wide receiver screens that just don't work. And it's like they barely ran the ball. Caleb Williams was incredibly inaccurate. And one of the scores, Will Levis, by the way, I don't know if you watched that game. I did. I'm here in Chicago. I watched it with a Bears fan. Will Levis did everything he could to throw multiple interceptions before the Bears finally let him off the hook and caught him. He was atrocious, and they still wound up putting up 2 touchdowns. One of them on Velus Jones kick returning it, like full-on wimpy from Popeye, where like had the ball and then dropped it and then kicked it. Like, I'll gladly pay you for a hamburger on Tuesday. I'll gladly pay you or take a hamburger today for Tuesday, whatever. Whatever the phrase is from Wimpy from Popeye, that's what he did. He literally kicked it like it was his hat, and he was chasing after it. It was one of the most embarrassing things I've ever seen. I don't know why more memes haven't been made of it, aside from the fact that maybe just Chicago is a smaller market than the New York market, because like we saw the butt fumble for a decade, and this was at least as bad. So all of that to say, like, Will Levis is horrific, and the Jets are going to torture him.
I think this is going to be I don't see this one being very close. I think the Jets are
Yeah.
going to bounce back in a big way in this one.
For sure. And the Jets are minus 3.5 on this one. Like, I would pound that over for sure.
Yeah.
Next up, we have San Francisco 49ers at the Minneapolis Vikings. This one's tough.
Is it?
I think San Francisco is going to take it, but I think it's going to be a lot tighter than it looks on paper right now. Because first off, at Minneapolis,
yeah.
So the 49ers have to travel. Secondly, I think that offense is real. I know Sam Darnold still doesn't have a lot of bleeders out there, but their wide receivers are real. Their weapons are real. Their offensive line is good. They have a hell of an offensive coordinator / head coach.
Yeah.
I don't think that the Niners are going to be able to get home quite as easily. Obviously, Sam Darnold is a whole lot more mobile in his mid-20s than Aaron Rodgers in his early 40s. I think this is going to be
going out on a limb on that one, Anthony.
I know, right? Like, I'm setting precedents here, guys. You guys are here for the hot takes, so here we are. So yeah, no, I think that this one's going to be a little bit tougher, but yeah, I agree with you. It's probably going to be Niners in the end. I'll take the Niners.
Yeah, I'm taking the Niners as well. We've agreed.
Too much.
Yeah, and I was actually a little afraid of this one.
Yeah.
A little afraid we're going to agree too much on this, but there are games coming up that I think maybe there might be disagreements on potentially. But yeah, I think the Niners take this one, and I wouldn't be shocked to see the Vikings take it. I think the Vikings are, even with Darnold as their quarterback, I think Darnold is going to kind of go into this, I think he's going to go into this Gardner Minshew type of role where he's a mercenary for teams and he does a decent job as a bridge / spot starter for them. I think that's going to be the rest of his career. And guys have made long careers out of doing what Gardner Minshew and Ryan Fitzpatrick and Sam Darnold are about to do.
I mean, what happens if this is, people are making the same argument for Jared Goff 3 years ago. He is now the franchise quarterback for the Detroit Lions.
Yes. Yeah, they were.
There's a place for Sam Darnold to make a stand and turn into a real franchise quarterback. It's here. It's now.
Maybe, but they still drafted J.J. McCarthy in the first round for a reason.
Yeah, guy's terrible.
I don't like him either.
And hurt.
Yeah, and hurt. $5 for what?
I have no idea what Brett's talking about.
Oh, potential.
Aha.
Yeah. My bad. My bad.
$5 in potential? That's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Next game, Seattle at New England. New England pulling off the upset against the Bengals last week. I myself took them as my suicide pool pick, and then I went back on it like 2.5 hours before game time because for whatever reason, part of it had to do with the Bengals. I don't think that the Bengals are potential. I can't say it on Nickel City Mafia. I'm sorry. I owe $5 to the swear jar. But the Patriots played their game against the Bengals. They drug the Bengals down to their level and had them play a sloppy, muddy 1960s style game. And so the Patriots are able to do that. They're playing the Seahawks this week. The Seahawks are just a better team. They're just a better team in general. They're more talented. They are traveling to Foxborough, but I like the Seahawks in this one. You
know what? I was going to take the Seahawks in this one. Now that I heard it, and now that you just convinced me, they will drag the Seahawks down to their level too.
Okay. All right.
Drag Geno Smith down to that level too. Let's do it. Let's New England Patriots. Let's go.
All right.
Let's go.
All right. Next game.
All right, next game, we've got the super exciting, I know you guys are waiting for this one, New York Giants against the Washington Commanders in what promises to be the least relevant game of the week. I'm going to take the Commanders because I just think that Daniel Jones sucks that.
I'll go the opposite then. Okay, cool. I told myself going in that if you took whatever team you took, I was going to take the opposite. because no, this game can go either way. So I'm going to make a case for the Giants right here. Their pass rush will fluster Jaden Daniels.
All right,
So
Brett is saying that he likes the Pats too. Anyway, sorry, go.
Okay, Brett likes the Pats. Fair enough. But I think I like the New York Giants pass rush. If there's anything the New York Giants can do well, it's rush the passer because they have the horses to do it. So give me the New York Giants in this one. They're going to fluster Jaden Daniels and make enough plays on offense to eke out a very boring victory.
See, that's the thing about Jaden Daniels. I don't think there's enough between the ears for you to fluster.
Fair enough. All right, next game. Los Angeles.
Go ahead.
What's that?
Sorry, no, I cut you off.
Are the Giants wearing the same uniforms as last week? I certainly hope not.
The Montreal Canadiens with the Michigan helmets.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that was a brutal. I don't know what they were. That was a brutal uniform, honestly.
They hire like these consultant agencies and they pay them huge amounts of money for the branding and whatever, and then they show up and then I don't know, just say no.
Yeah.
Say no. Ask for your money back.
Weston, thank you for joining us, man. Let's see. Brett also has the New York Giants. Fair enough. Let's see. And apparently I don't know $5 at the swear jar anymore. Yes.
You should still go into Brett's show on Sundays and give him $5 to the super chat at least.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that. All right. So let's see. Are the Giants wearing the same? Yeah. We addressed that. Bad uniforms. Next game, we have the Los Angeles Chargers at the Carolina Panthers. Panthers got blown out last week. I don't think they're a very good team. They're obviously not a very good team. Apparently, Dave Canales already had a meeting with
David Tepper
after that blowout last week. Man,
imagine David Tepper fires him and he's officially paying 4 head coaches at the same time.
They need to give David Tepper the Daniel Snyder treatment, man. They need to force him. They need to force him out.
He's speed running himself out of the league. He's
so good. Yeah. So bad. And the Carolina Panthers are so bad. Bryce Young. I was actually rooting for the kid, but he did not look good against the Saints last week. The Chargers, conversely, looked all right. They played Jim Harbaugh style football and beat a Raiders team they're probably better than on paper. They're much better than the Carolina Panthers on paper. I'm taking the Chargers.
Yeah, I'll take the Chargers too. I want no part of the Carolina Panthers. Are you going to take the Panthers in your suicide pool this week, or did you take?
I am. I'm taking the Chargers. Taking the Chargers in my suicide pool this week.
That's good. Next up, we have this is going to be a tough one, actually. I think Cleveland Browns versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't want any part of either one of these two teams, to be honest with you. I'm going to take Jacksonville because they are at home, but man, I don't feel good about it.
Yeah, I don't feel good about either team in this game. Watching Deshaun Watson play football last week was like watching Bryce Young play football for the Carolina Panthers. This dude doesn't have a clue how to play the quarterback position anymore. And if you'd have told me that 5 years ago when he was still at the Texans, I'd have said, you're crazy.
Yeah.
He's one of the most electrifying players in the NFL. I don't know. I know there's more allegations out about him that he's been up to more nefarious activities. Innocent until proven guilty. I'm not going to go into that, but the fact of the matter is, Deshaun Watson has regressed just to the point where he's unplayable, and I don't care if his contract's guaranteed or not.
Yeah.
So I have to go with the Jaguars here because I don't believe in their quarterback, and I don't believe they're going to bench him.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I think it's the Deshaun Watson looked completely unwinnable or unplayable over the last 2 odd years. Every single time anybody else has played quarterback for that team plays better.
Yeah. Look at what the offense looked like that for Joe Flacco. The corpse of Joe Flacco steps in and leads them to a playoff spot and makes their offense look not dynamic, but like functional, right?
Yeah. No.
And that was Joe Flacco. and that was a lack of Deshaun Watson. That's what happened there.
Yeah, completely agree. And the year before that, it was Jacoby Brissett in the first half of the year, like first 12 games, where they were in a winning position to make it to the playoffs, and then Deshaun comes in and makes sure that doesn't happen. So yeah, that's the thing.
For the Browns right now is Deshaun Watson getting hurt again.
Actually, probably true. True. And the best thing that could happen to Deshaun Watson is that he gets hurt and they can't void his contract.
Yeah.
So like they both have this mutual thing. All right. Next up, we have the Las Vegas Raiders at the Baltimore Ravens. It's gonna be Baltimore.
Yeah, I mean, you say that all, devil may care style, but look, I like the Raiders. I like Antonio Pierce as a coach. He reminds me a lot of like a Mike Singletary as a coach. And Mike Singletary wasn't a particularly good coach, but I think he has players.
That's a horrible example. Calling him is like you're terrible.
No, but he has players. All right, then a poor man's Mike Tomlin. Then, if you will, he has players that will run through a wall for him. Mm-hmm. And I think Antonio Pierce, that's his strength as a head coach. I don't particularly like the coordinators he chose to lead that team. Mm-hmm. But I like Gardner Minshew. I like Antonio. I'm going with the Ravens, but I do like the Raiders, and I think the NFL as a whole is a better product when the Raiders are a good football team. And I want the Raiders to be good again just for that very reason, because you want the black and silver to be a formidable team, and they just haven't been. And they're not going to be this season because they just have a dearth of talent. And this is the Ravens game.
Yeah. Right. Actually, if I have any of the offensive players for the Ravens, I'm not sure how excited I am for them this week. I think they're going to be shutting down pretty fast.
Yeah.
They're just going to – I mean, it's like Lamar's not going to run for 150, and he might get 2 tutties. I don't think he's going to run for 150. I think he's just going to save his body. This game will be over pretty quick. All right, next up, we've got the Los Angeles Rams against the Arizona Cardinals. I'm going to take the Rams in this one. I'm not going to feel amazing about it.
Then my instincts tell me the Rams. But you know what? Give me the Cardinals, because I've been talking them up all preseason. I've been talking them up all offseason as a team that could raise some eyebrows here. And they raised some eyebrows against the Bills, and then they just let them off the hook last week. And that's what I'm chalking it up to be perfectly honest.
Fair.
I think they just let their foot off the pedal and started smelling themselves a little bit too much. And the Bills took advantage because the Bills are the more talented team. But I like the Cardinals, and I like Jonathan Gannon, and I like Kyler Murray. I think Kyler Murray's better than he was last week. He's going to go to Marvin Harrison Jr. more often. Give me the Cardinals in this one. And I initially did take the Rams in this one, but I'm switching allegiances. The Cardinals are home. Give me the Cardinals.
Okay, that's fair. No, I completely get it. I wasn't feeling great about it either way. Next up, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Denver Broncos. I don't think it matters. I think Pittsburgh beats the holy crap out of Denver. I think Bo Nix is garbage.
I think
it's a countdown for Zach Wilson to start again, guys.
The Steelers, what they did last week to the Falcons was impressive. Their defense is just impressive. TJ Watt is so impressive.
He's such a maniac.
Yeah, he is. And that defense is going to win them a lot of games, including this one in Denver. I'm taking the Steelers as well.
Yeah, no, that one's going to get ugly in a hurry.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, it is a countdown for Zach Wilson to start. I had the over-under at like week 9. I think it's going to be around week 8 or week 9, but he's going to be starting again because Bo Nix cannot be trusted. He should have thrown 5 interceptions.
Yeah.
He only threw 2. He should have thrown 5.
I remember at one point he threw one of the interceptions. The announcer visibly goes, "Oh no!"
Yeah, he hadn't thrown the interception yet. That was the worst thing. He just let the ball loose.
Yeah,
and the announcer's like, "Oh." if you go back and watch that game, there was a time I was box score scouting because I was watching on Red Zone, and there was a time where he had like more passing attempts than he had yards.
Mm-hmm.
It was like he was like 3 of 7 for 5 yards.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm wondering, you have Sean Payton, who's supposed to be this quarterback whisperer.
Mm.
Start whispering, Sean, because this season is going to get out of hand in a hurry if you
Start shouting.
Yeah.
They paid a first-round pick to get him.
I know.
The head coach.
I know.
The
yeah, and I wouldn't have. I thought he was a second or third round pick coming out, and when the Broncos took him, I said, "What?"
Yeah. No, man, that was.
All right, next game: Cincinnati Bengals at the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City won, of course, on opening night against the Baltimore Ravens, and Cincinnati got upset by the New England Patriots, and there's no other way of putting that. I'm taking the Chiefs in this one. There's just so much turmoil in Cincinnati right now. T. Higgins isn't playing. He's got some mysterious phantom injury. Jamar Chase is disgruntled. I heard he turned down another contract offer for them that would have been $35 million a year. He wants to make $1 more than Justin Jefferson. All right, fine, bro. So there's just so much turmoil going on there. This game looks so much better in the preseason. It looked like one of those games where you're going to tune in, you're going to pay attention. It's going to be awesome. And now it's just looking like, the Chiefs are going to coast to an easy victory in this one.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree. The over-under on the 48, I don't think it gets there. It's going to be the Chiefs, and I don't even think it's going to be a super high-scoring game. I think it's going to be another one where the Chiefs wind up packing it up early. If there's a bet on, like, who's the backup tight end on that team?
Noah Gray?
Yeah. If there's a bet on that guy catching passes, like maybe 3.5 or something, I bet I'd hammer the over. If you saw, like, last week, they were saving Kelsey. They're going to keep saving Kelsey all season.
Yeah.
It's
going to start slowly ramp him up as the playoffs get closer.
Yeah, they're not going to put too much on his plate. They'll let the other horses carry him there. Next up, we have the Chicago Bears at the Houston Texans. To be honest with you, I really want to take the Bears at this one. I really want to take the Bears with this one, but Caleb Williams looks so terrible.
Yeah.
I am going to take Houston on this one. I think the Bears have a top 5 defense beyond a shadow of a doubt. I think they will be able to turn over C.J. Stroud. I think they're going to be able to plug the holes against Joe Mixon. The question is whether or not Caleb Williams can lead even a competent offense. I'm not convinced he can do that yet. So I'm going to go with the Houston Texans. By the way, Chicago royally screwed up not taking Drake May.
Yeah. Well, and we talked about that over the summer, Anthony. Leading up to the draft. Well, in the spring, I should say, leading up to the draft, we both like Drake May infinitely more than Caleb. Not infinitely more, but I wasn't a huge fan of Caleb Williams coming out. I'm not going to get into another diatribe about Caleb Williams, but I'm just going to say I agree. I think Drake May should have been the pick for the Chicago Bears, and Drake May's currently sitting, which is what he should be doing. Caleb Williams, he looked pro ready, so I guess you throw him out there and throw him to the wolves, and you can't label a guy a bust after one game. That's not what I'm doing, but he did not look good against an inferior opponent.
Yeah,
in the Tennessee Titans,
terribly under talented opponent. He was just missing like wide open shots left and right. It was hard to watch. My friend, who is a very big time Bears fan, was super disappointed, and I just the only thing I kept saying is, "Don't worry, Will Levis is going to do his thing. Just let him."
Yeah.
Just let Will Levis do his thing. Final matchup of the week, we've got.
By the way, I'm also taking the Texans in that game.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
I need to declare just for the sake of the show, just for the sake of integrity here. So I can't go back and say, oh, if the Bears, pull off the upset, I can't go back and say, oh, I actually did like the Bears in this one because of their defense. No, I'm taking the Texans in that one.
All right. Final matchup of the weekend, we have Monday night, Atlanta at Philadelphia. I'm going to take Philadelphia until I see that Kirk Cousins can actually push off that wonky Achilles.
Yeah, I think that the Falcons just got the worst possible Week 1 matchup
Yeah,
in the Pittsburgh Steelers.
it's true. It's true.
Kirk Cousins coming back off that injury, and now he has to run for his life from TJ Watt all afternoon. That is not ideal for him at all. And I think, you know, I went against the Eagles last week, and I lived to regret it. I'm going to do it again. Give me the Falcons in an upset. I think there's so much talent on this offense, and Kirk Cousins has abused that Eagles defense in the past. And the Eagles defense didn't look that great the Packers. Their run defense in particular.
Yeah, no, they got
So
it's true.
give me the Falcons and give me Bijan Robinson to run wild on them, and Drake London and Kyle Pitts to make just enough plays to push them to victory. I think the Falcons are a better team than what they demonstrated against the Steelers last week. I just honestly think it was just a rough matchup for them.
Yeah.
So just yeah, I have been going back and forth in this game. I have been mostly on the Eagles, and I'm just kind of knee jerking this right now and saying, and I actually have the Eagles highlighted on this, but I'm knee jerking this and saying, give me the Falcons because I still don't believe in the Eagles, and I think the Falcons are a much better offensive team than what they demonstrated against the Steelers.
That's fair. That's fair.
All right, so. As we told you guys, we're going to keep a cumulative tally going on. I'm going to show you guys this right here. Ignore my Eagles pick down there. Those are my picks for the week. I do take the Falcons. I declare that. But these are the picks, and we're going to show you guys this every week. We're going to keep a cumulative score. We're going to put it next to our names. And yeah, it's going to be a fun week of football. In spite of the fact that Anthony and I agreed on pretty much every pick, this is still going to be fun. Dolphins Bills tonight. I'm shaking. I'm with anticipation, and I'm all my head's all over the place on this game. I hate Bills week, man.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be a fun matchup. I do think that the Dolphins are gonna take care of business.
You have any final thoughts on our picks this week, Anthony?
No, I'm just hoping I get back ahead.
Yeah,
I was feeling great after Philly last week, and
yeah,
that's the weekend. I don't even know where it turned, but it did.
All right, so guys, here's Anthony's picks right here. You scroll down a little bit, Anthony.
Yeah, no, sorry about that.
There we go. So a couple of differences here with Cardinals, Rams. We took different teams. Commanders, Giants, we took different teams, and I think Falcons, Eagles, we took different teams. I think that's about it, isn't it?
And I have the Bears highlighted. I don't know why, but no, I'm taking Houston.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So 3 differences between us this week. That's going to be the difference in who's ahead coming next week.
For sure.
And honestly, like you took the smarter choices in the Eagles and the Rams, so yeah. I kind of went off the reservation a little bit with my Cardinals and Falcons picks. But we'll see how it works out.
For sure. All right. I think that's going to be it for us. We got out under 40 minutes this time. I think we were 41 or 42 last time. So we're better.
Yeah, we are. So guys, if you haven't already, like and subscribe, and we're going to be back every week, every Thursday at 7:00 to give you our picks before Thursday Night Football. And fins up.
Take flight, folks.
Oh, shoot. Cancel. Stay. In stream.